Hello, my name is Penny and this is Penny's Art Emporium, and today I'm going to do something quite different from what I have been doing recently. I've done lots of little card sized hearts on little canvases and I really wanted to do something different, and this is going to be a special Christmas gift, so I won't be putting this video on until after Christmas when I've delivered it. And it is going to be of this beautiful little cat, Ahsoka, and I have already printed this photograph of her, and I also have this image on my iPad, which with the light on the iPad does just make it a little bit brighter and also shows the fur up a lot more in the different colours that she is. So that is the cat that I'm going to do today. Her colouring is Calico, and I have done a couple of cats before. I've done my video 153, which was a tabby cat called Coda, and I've done video number 154, which was a lovely fluffy cat that I've just put up there for you to see in nice gingery colours. So the colours that I've got today, I'm going to do a background. I'm going to do the background with the wooden stand that she likes to sit on. So I've got the buff titanium, I've got this which is raw sienna, I have got some coppers and some golds to put amongst that really, just for the wood. And then with the background colour, I thought I would split it a little bit like I did with this, because I quite like that, and I like the greys because it will really show up her colouring. So I've got this very light grey, which is just natural grey, and then I've got this, again it's just called grey, which is an Arteza one, just slightly darker. And then for her actual colouring herself, I have got this Arteza Fancy Black, which is really nice. It has a kind of glittery quality to it, a little bit sort of red glittery in a way. I've got some lovely copper, which is really nice. I have got this sand, which is a very dense, flat, matte colour, but I like the combination of all the different paints together. I've got this nice Amsterdam white and also the metallic white, which this one is a artiste one, and I really like to mix the whites together and it just makes really lovely fur for her lovely white bib and her little fluffy paws, and I really like that combination. I have got some gold, and then I've got a titanium gold, which is a richer, not quite so yellow gold. And then I've also got this champagne gold, which isn't very shiny really. It's a lot more, yeah. It's not a colour I'm keen on its own, but it will be good because it's a lot more earthy and it will mix in with all the other colours. So I've got this lovely canvas, which is about the same size as little Ahsoka there. It is 24 centimetres by 30 centimetres. I am going to put her outline on to start with, so I've got a vague idea where all the pour painted acrylic paint is going to go, which I'll put on in my bottles. I've got a little brush just to go around the edge. I've got my palette knives here to spread the paint about a little bit. And I'm really excited to see how that's going to go. I've been meaning to do little Ahsoka for about 6 months, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes, and I'm hoping I can get a really good likeness. So I will get started on that. As you can see, I have put down the outline of where I want everything to go, and now I am just roughly going to put down the background, just making sure that I've got all my edges nice and smooth And the reason that I like to put my background down first is because I want all the fur to be able to go into the background, and it just makes a really lovely fluffy kind of look. I'm just trying to measure where I want the divide to go for the background. I'm going to have the darker grey at the bottom and then the lighter grey at the top. And I've marked out roughly where her colours are going to go as well, because she's got so many different colours on her. I wanted to be able to see where the dark ones went quite easily. And I'm just using my brush to get close to the line of where she's going to be. I didn't want to cover over the line, so that I didn't want to distort the image I've already put on of her, which is very easy to do with the pour painting because it is very fluid. It's about the consistency of single cream, so it is very wet and it does expand and move around quite a lot. So I didn't want to go over the lines I've already put on. But I really like the finish that you get because it has a very dense, blocked out colour. And when I've done portraits with a brush, it's not as effective, I don't think. And now I'm roughly putting on the wood that she likes to sit on, the wooden furniture. This doesn't have to look too much like wood for me. I'm really not bothered if it doesn't look exactly like wood, because it is a pour painting, and I just don't feel it's necessary. It doesn't have to look perfect. So I'm just roughly doing it in the shading that the wood would be, and I'm doing lines with my palette knife. And again with my brush going up to where her little furry paws are, and just really going like I would with the grain of the wood in the right direction. And the reason that I'm doing this area first is because where her lovely little paws are, I want her fur to be able to go into that, and it'll just give a really lovely fluffy furry appearance. So I'm trying to do things in a logical order so that I can make sure that the fur just sits into the background nicely. And now I can get to work on lovely little Ahsoka. So I'm just going to roughly put down in places where her colours should go. I'm following the photograph, and I'm also following my iPad, because the iPad just makes the colours brighter. I can see the definitions, and because she's got quite a lot of black on her as well, particularly on her face, I'm trying to be careful just to keep within the markings that she's got, but add the right kind of colours in the right kind of places. And I am putting the lines in the direction that her fur would go. And then later on I will get my palette knife and I will blend those colours together. At the moment I'm just roughly putting them in. It's a nice mixture of metallic and also matte and different colours. So this one's the titanium gold, which I love so much. And you can kind of see where all those little bits are going to go. And now I'm getting my palette knife and I'm just spreading the paint out and blending the colours together. And I am making sure that I am putting the palette knife in the direction that I want the fur to go. I'm trying to just get little bits of fur that will go into the background. and some areas are not quite as furry as others, particularly on her ears. I'm just trying to get the colours right. You have to be a little bit careful, particularly with the black, because if it goes into the lighter colours it will overtake it and you'll lose those other colours. So you can see that it's starting to come together. I will do her eyes last because I don't want to lose the outline of them. So I'm trying to do it so that I will do a little bit of one area and then I'll move on to another and let that settle for a little bit. And I'm trying to think about the areas that will overlap with the fur. With her little face there, I'm trying not to lose the shape of her nose. Because she is all black on her nose, I don't want to just lose where that little bit of nose is. And her nose isn't as furry as some other bits as well. So I'm just outlining where those eyes are going to go later. And now I'll move on to the other ear and just let the nose and around the eyes settle a little bit with the paint. It won't dry for a long time because it is the fluid art paint. It is acrylic paint mixed with Floetrol and water. So it will take a day or so to dry where the paint is thicker, but it will just settle a little bit. And some areas do expand as well. So if you overload it with too much paint, it will just completely distort. So I've got a couple of palette knives. I've got my tiny little metal one, which makes the nice finer details of fur. And then I've also got a much thicker plastic one that I tried out for the first time actually this time, and I really liked it. I found it was really good for moving larger amounts of paint when I didn't need the finer detail, whereas the little one here just gives a lot more finer detail, and it just really mixes the paint together and it just gives a really lovely furry effect. So I'll let you carry on watching as I finish the rest of Ahsoka, and then we can have a look and see what that's like towards the end. here is this little painting, and I feel that I finished now. There will need some adjustments when it is dry. Obviously her little face will need some adjusting. I've just put the chartreuse green in for her eyes at the moment, but I will paint over those when it is dry. But I just wanted to get paint in those eye sockets, otherwise it might look a bit odd when I paint them when it is dry. So she's got some lovely little fluffy paws, and then she is on a wooden piece of furniture, which I've tried to get the colours so that you can tell that it's not part of her. And then she's got all this lovely fur with lots of really nice metallic colours amongst some more flatter colours. So it'll be interesting to see what that is like when it is dry. I'm going to show you what she looks like on my iPad. So I've tried to get the colours and the fur pattern as much as possible. My iPad is much brighter than an actual photograph. The actual photograph on the printer isn't quite as bright. So I'm probably kind of somewhere between the two. The colours aren't exact and the markings aren't exact, but I think it's a good enough likeness. So I'll let you see that when it is dry, and of course I will paint those eyes in, which is the most important part really. For her nose, I have just kind of etched it in at the moment because on the photograph it's really hard to see her nose because she's so dark on her nose. So there, I'll draw those eyes in when it's dry and I'll let you see that. So bye for now. So here is this little cat, and I'm very pleased with her. I've put her alongside the iPad image, which is a lot brighter, and also the printed photograph, just so that you could see how I've got her colours really and the difference between them. So I'll do a close-up of her iPad image and her photograph. And here she is in her painting. I'm really pleased with her little nose, because in both images her nose kind of disappears a little bit because she's so dark. So I have just used a little bit of a kind of frosted colour just to highlight where her nose would be. And she's got lovely little ears, which are lovely and fluffy, and I feel like I've got her expression on her face as well. I'm really pleased with how the fur has turned out, just lovely and fluffy. And her little paw there, she has a little heart on her paw, which is just really nice. So I'll turn the light off and then you'll be able to see how the different paint finishes make her look in the natural light. So here she is in the natural light in quite a dark room, and I don't varnish these because I like the way that the contrast is with the paint finishes, with the metallic and the more matte. So I will turn her towards the light. And you can see how her eyes light up and how she just looks really sweet. The wooden unit that she likes to sit on, I haven't altered that at all. I could have made it a little bit more wood-like if I'd wanted to, but the main feature was her face and the cat. So I didn't want to do too much detail to the wooden stand that she likes to sit on. And her lovely little chin there. And you can see how the fur really picks up in different lights. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.